attend. Okay, so I'm really excited that you're all here so I can introduce to you the Well-Minded Mamas Club. And so how I wanted to start is I just wanted to kind of introduce myself because I know all of you and I love all of you. But you probably, I don't always share some personal things about me. But I'm sure you all know that I'm a mom to a 2-year-old named Homer. Obviously, I'm a naturopathic physician. I really have focused my practice on pandas, vector-borne illnesses, and autism. And part of my mission, which I'm going to get into, one part was kind of to support the siblings of the families that have a child with pandas. So I wrote this book, Super Sam in the Battle Against Pandas. It was my maternity leave project, and I'm really proud of it. But it was just like a fun little creative project that turned into something more, which was nice. I love the literature, like I love reading literature. So I often say that I'm like a science nerd. And I also am a nature lover. So also one thing you might know about me is I love the national parks. That's where my husband and where we go, and my son for all of our vacations. So these are my guys. So that's Homer, Ed, which I'm sure a lot of you know from being at the office, and then my husband, Joe. And so, some of these pictures were from us out hiking and whatnot, but that's Ed's headshot. I think he looks really cute there. And then one other thing you might not know about me is I'm a wannabe wildlife photographer. So when I was younger, I always thought that I wanted to travel the world and take photos of animals. And so I get to do that when I'm in the national parks. And these are 2 of my photos. I don't know how to edit anything, so these are just my raw photos. But that bear photo is like my pride and joy. That was at Katmai National Park, which is pretty awesome. And then I do a lot. So I do lecture to parent organizations and professional organizations regarding pandas and autism. I also do a lot in legislation here in Connecticut to try to expand the scope of practice for naturopathic doctors, but also to protect our scope of practice. And, I have my private practice, and I did mention that I have my little book. So all of these things I feel really proud about, but I still feel like there's part of myself and also the way that I want to practice and support families that's been missing. And so I just want to say, like, my purpose and what my goal has been and has always been, and why I went into medicine, was to support and strengthen the family structure. And so I always really wanted to keep families together. That was always my goal. And so the reason I went in with children with chronic illness is because of the stress that it can put on the family structure, the high divorce rate and whatnot. There's been a lot of challenges faced with this because it can't all fall on me, right? I can just kind of help to go along the journey with the families. But, with the increased rate of chronic illness, there's more families that have needs. When children start with just pandas, it doesn't always present it doesn't just stay as pandas. It can move to PANS and make it just more complicated and for the families, but also a lot of families that I see deal with constant flares. So they're constantly in, somewhat of a fight or flight type of situation. There's a lot of trauma that's going on. I have this strong belief that when family members, particularly the mothers, feel better, children will get better without making any changes to the intervention. So this has always been my purpose, but more so now since I became a mom, because I have shared with some of you, but I feel like this is my goal in life, but I'm not really doing it that well in my own home, to be honest. I could definitely show up better for my husband. I could show up and be more present with my son. And it was a hard reality to have my son. I think there was a lot that came up from my past that I thought I worked on, and I guess I didn't work on it enough. So I have kind of gone on my own journey right now of how to heal myself, like all aspects of myself. And I've seen an amazing transformation in my own household. And what that just brought up for me is that I have so many moms that also could benefit from doing some of this work. And I would love for us to do it together. And so the reason I say that is in my office, when I'm working with families, I hear a lot about what you all go through. And my heart is with all of you. And so this was a recent article that came out last year that actually looked at feedback from parents who had children with PANS. And I just pulled some of their quotes, but one was saying, like, the first time it happened, I was in shock. She was a completely different child. His suffering is unbearable. I wasn't a mother to my other children, and I can never predict how she will be. But I thought this one was really interesting. I vanished as a person. I was forced completely to focus on my child and and to manage the everyday. So my needs, they had to take a back seat for so long that in the end, I didn't know who I was. In the end, I had no needs. It was as if they had disappeared. I knew that my breath, no one could take that away from me, but everything else was taken by her illness. And so I do think there's a lot of our moms or my moms that I work with that feel some of these, like, can resonate with some of these quotes. And I just feel that all of us together, we can all support each other because we know what we're all going through. And so one thing that, as I mentioned, is I really do see how much, as a mom, how much power we all hold to influence how our kids feel. And so I do want to go into that for a little bit, but I love this, the 6 degrees of separation and the 3 degrees of influence. I'm not sure if any of you heard about this, but essentially it's this theory that all of us are connected to everyone else through a chain of 6 people and 3 degrees of influence. So essentially it's saying that there's a ripple effect, and the ripple effect happens with your health and habits, that when you focus on yourself, this actually influences those around you. So that says that for 1 degree of separation for your happiness increases that person that's 1 degree away from you by 15%. 15%. So that's your child, right? So if you're feeling happy and joy, that will then influence and increase the happiness and joy that your child is feeling by 15%. I mean, 15% for me, I know that can turn my day around, right? Like if I feel 15% happier, 15% more joyful. 2 degrees of separation, you can increase happiness by 10%, and then 3rd degrees of separation, 6%, which is just something for all of us to kind of think about. But also there is the opposite, an unhappy person. Being associated with an unhappy person, if you have 1 degree of separation from that person, it can decrease your happiness by 9%. 2 degrees, and 2 degrees, and for every other degree after that, there's a 7% decrease for an additional unhappy connection. So again, I just find this fascinating, but I think we can all like resonate with this, and we can think about, oh, wow, I can recall, maybe a time when I was feeling unhappy that then rubbed off. So like for me, I know when my husband's in a bad mood or something, immediately it brings me down. And I need to work on myself with that, because I can't have his energy impacting me when it has nothing to do with me. And so I did a recent survey, and I'm sure some of you filled it out. I'm always so appreciative of you that helped me with this, but 88% of my mothers reported a correlation between their child's symptoms and behaviors with their own mood and emotional state. That's huge, 88%. And so we know that parents' well-being and health has a direct impact on their children's health. And so I just wanted to provide some of the resources that looks into this. There's not so many, but there's some. And this is just my whole preference, or like the way I want to frame this is empower all of us and show the power that we have. There is no blame, there is no guilt here. Like, we are all in the same boat, and this just shows how powerful we are and how much we can make a difference in our own lives, our children's lives, and those around us. So this study found that mothers of young children who engaged in mindfulness practices, their children had fewer behavioral problems and less emotional reactivity, and the effect was strongest when the moms practiced for 10 minutes a day. So I know we don't have a minute to ourselves, but 10 minutes, I think we can try to find time for that. So 10 minutes made a significant difference in these child's behavioral problems and emotional reactivity. And this study found, which I thought was interesting, that low socioeconomic status in early life was associated with an increased expression of pro-inflammatory genes in adulthood, but only those who had low maternal warmth. So the individuals who were living in that same situation, who had high maternal warmth, so really felt their love from their mother, didn't present with the association of the pro-inflammatory genes expression, even though they were both in the same environment. And then parental stress, mostly mother stress, can contribute to the onset of asthma and the prognosis of disease. And then postnatal depression was associated with increased risk of infections in children. So risk of infections were higher in children of mothers with persistent depression compared to those who had depression that remitted over time. And then I found this interesting because I think there's just a lot of stress in our life, but also that is brought into the household. And sometimes we can have that in our relationships as well. So harsh family environments in early life resulted in higher levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines in adolescence. And so these were mediated by parental stress and family conflict. And then also it suggests that stress experienced in childhood can have a lasting impact on the immune system and contribute to the development of chronic diseases. So again, what I was saying is this is just evidence that how we are as parents and how we're feeling has a direct impact on our child without putting in additional interventions. And so it can feel like a big burden. So I like to empower moms and I like to say that we have all this power, but it can feel like a burden. And so I guess what I want to create is, and what for you all to know is that like, we don't have to do this alone. Like we were never meant to actually do this alone. And Brene Brown said that. So this is where I want to introduce the concept of community health. So community health, social isolation is one of the #1 causes of all mortality. So it's actually more than smoking, alcoholism, and poor nutrition. And so if you have social isolation, it can reduce your lifespan as if you were a smoker who smoked 15 cigarettes a day. And it can also shorten one's lifespan by 8 years. And so loneliness, it's been shown that it can affect 25 to 60% of older Americans. And I know that this is something that I've personally experienced as a child growing up in my household. But also I feel this as an adult too. And the more isolated people are, the less happy they are, but that can impact brain function. And also it can cause physical health changes. And our connections at 50 years old can actually predict our health status at 80 years old. So it's if we have stronger connections around the age of 50 or before that, and that are strong connections, it actually shows that there's a positive outcome and prediction for when we're 80 years old. And social isolation and loneliness, it can impact our genes. And so we are wired for connection, and this is our social cognitive default. And historically, as women, we all used to spend more time together, right? It's not, that saying it takes a village to raise a child. That's actually true. That is what happened historically. And it is known that women who spend more time collaborating in a group, they feel more supported and more connected. So I have an intention. This is my intention. My intention is to create a supportive community for mothers. I want to help to facilitate connection between yourselves, but also each other. And the whole purpose is for us to feel grounded, connected, and empower and each other through education, which that's my job. There is the education piece, but creativity, reflection, and also play. And this is really to improve the mental and the physical health, which will positively impact the health and outcomes of your children, and it will strengthen the family structure. So I experimented with this and I did a little mini retreat at my office for my local moms, which I know a lot of my not local moms couldn't attend, but it was such a nice event. And it was a custom tea blend event and also a little meditation. So we talked about different herbals and we made custom blends. So this is some pictures from that day and the setup. And it was so lovely. And these are people making their tea blends. And I got a lot of positive feedback from this event. Moms were saying that they were excited to go home and see, because they felt like their cup was full, to see how this impacts their children and their husband. I had people say that they just had such a wonderful time, that it was one of the first things they thought about in the next morning, about they just felt a lot of joy and peace the next day. And that is the feeling I'm going for and creating a community for moms. And so I do have some ideas for upcoming local events. I have one this upcoming weekend where we're going to make mocktails with herbal tinctures so we can elevate the drinks for more, health benefits and whatnot. And I have some other ideas. But again, these are for local events. And really, I have moms from all over the country that could benefit. And so with that is what came out, the Well-Minded Mamas Club, which I'll talk more about. But essentially with this program, these are the people who I think would benefit and fit in well with the program. So mothers, and I say fierce mama bears that would do anything for their children. So literally every single mother that's in my practice falls into this category. Anyone who has a child who requires some extra attention to their health due to their health or their needs, and those who implement lifestyle changes and make health choices that maybe others don't understand or they don't feel comfortable sharing. Like maybe you have a lot of friends and you feel well connected and have a great social network, but the certain things that you do behind closed doors for the health of your family or yourself, maybe others wouldn't understand. So you're not so forthcoming with sharing that. Those who recognize that their mood impacts those around them, and those who want to be a part of an understanding and supportive community. So do you guys think you fall into this category? Because I know I do. I definitely fall into this category, but I think, again, all of you do too. And so I do think everyone will benefit. So I've come up with a curriculum. And so my purpose with the curriculum is to focus on the physical body, but also to bring in the mental and the spiritual components too. And so it's a 6-module curriculum. And so these are the things we would talk about: mood, hormones, stress and sleep, metabolism, detoxification, and then our intuition. Okay. And so these are things that when, again, I surveyed and asked all of you what you were interested in learning more about, these were some of the top ones. And I think, I know a lot about the physical piece of it, and I can help you with the physiology, but there's so much more to that. So for instance, for mood, we'll talk about neurotransmitters, anxiety, depression, trauma, which is so prevalent in my population, but also what we can do to help support our mood. So if those are certain mood foods, but also some mindfulness and mindset practices. Hormones, we'll talk about our monthly hormone rhythm, PMS, perimenopause, menopause, and cyclical eating. Stress and sleep I think a lot of us need to focus on our cortisol response and what it looks like to have a healthy adrenal response, because I think it's probably been a long time for that to be the case with a lot of us. The impact of chronic stress, sleep hygiene, and coping strategies. Metabolism, we'll talk about thyroid health, mitochondrial health, blood sugar stabilization, exogenous carbohydrates, and how to release excess weight. And detoxification, we'll talk about organs of detox, seasonal eating, toxin-free living, and emotional detox, which is a key. And then intuition, it's probably the module I'm looking the most forward to, but I would love to help all of us reconnect with our sacred goddess, embracing who we truly are, listening to our gut instincts, and trusting our intuition. So something I learned on very early on when I started to practice is always trust the moms. Like, they know what is best for their child, and listen to them. And I feel like I do a good job at that, but I never really reflected on that for myself either. And so again, a lot of this recent work I've been doing has kind of been in this realm, and I don't know much about it. I've just started to experience it myself, but it has been, wow, very transformative, as I said. And so it's something I would love to introduce to you and, like, again, go through this and learn about it with all of you. And so how this would work is that I would have virtual monthly meetings. So it would be once a month. And so the reason I wanted it to be virtual is that I can do it with all moms, like regardless of where you live. If I do have a lot of interest, possibly they would have the opportunity for an in-person group too. But we're going to focus on the virtual. I'm going to put together the modules that I just talked about, so you would watch it before we met. So we don't have to take up the time for the community aspect when your time is so precious going through this. So you can kind of think of it as like listening like you would to a podcast or something like that on your own time. And then we'll have monthly activities that will accelerate the health and also hold each other accountable. So these are just more like reflection type of activities or things to do maybe with your family. And also there's going to be a private online community between the meetings so that we can have continued support. So it's not like, because I think sometimes virtually 1 month can feel like a long time. So I want to make sure we can continue that connection throughout the month. And the whole purpose is to learn, share, connect, and grow. And so we would meet monthly. Again, I was thinking a Wednesday evening. It would be for 60 minutes when we actually meet for the community part of things. I feel like that was a good amount of time. I'm going to leave a little bit of time afterwards just in case it runs over. But I would love to like plan for 60 minutes. This is the connection piece for all of us. And again, it would be the hope is virtually, well, it's definitely virtually. And then again, if I have enough, possibly an in-person, but we'll focus on the virtual. And the cost, so this is a beta group. So the beta group would be $425. This is really just the cost for putting together the content and to meet and the time. But, you know, it's a beta group, so it will never be this low again, the price. And overall, this is a 90% discount compared to one-on-one services. And I just feel so passionate about this because I can accomplish so much more than one-on-one in this time with us, like talking about doing the modules. I can go into more detail than I can go into when we're just one-on-one, but also just the community aspect and like what you're going to gain out of this is going to be so much more rewarding than a one-on-one with me, just me. Like I love my time with all of you, but I think all of you have so much that you can contribute and gain from each other. And so, you know, I was just doing the cost difference that if it was one-on-one 12 hours, which would be the total of what this would be $4,500. So it's a significant discount. And I just have to put in that the average person does pay apparently $3.99 a day on Starbucks. And so this journey for health transformation would be $2.36 a day for 6 months. So I believe, and I know you believe, that you and your family are worth more than the average cost of a beverage per day. So I just feel like this is tremendous value for all of us, and we're going to gain so much out of it. And so you'll have access to all of the resources that I provide you. All sessions will be recorded just in case you can't make one of them, or so that you can listen to it. And I have the link here for you to sign up. The space is limited just because I want to keep it intimate. And but I do have some ideas and bonus offers, I guess. And so the bonus is if you're interested, if this is something you're interested in and you want to sign up within the next 72 hours, I put together some things that you could win, which is exciting. But one of them is a red light laser session with me. So red light laser is wonderful for inflammation. So if there's an area that you have pain or is inflamed, this is a great place, a great therapy to utilize, but also it's great for any type of skin damage. So it's a little way of like self-care too. It can help with skin damage. It can help with wrinkles and fine lines. Collagen. It was just something that I've added to my practice. I haven't officially added it to the practice, but I thought it would be nice as like some self-care, a little bit. And then the last thing is I have this like photonics jade wand that has, again, it's kind of with the red light and the blue light therapy. And it helps with stimulating production of collagen, and also helps to eliminate toxins and brightens the skin and reduces the appearance. So these are just some fun things that I thought I could add in for some added value if you are interested and you wanted to sign up so we could get the program moving. So this is the link to sign up if you're interested. And I guess I just have to say, like, I just want to share why this came to me. So again, I just feel like my whole purpose is to try to keep the family structure together. And there's just areas where I wasn't feeling like I was totally in alignment or able to do that to my best ability. And so one of those things that came to me, I had like an aha moment, was when I thought about that little children's book, right? And so I put that together. But then another day I was driving to work and I was just kind of feeling like I could do more, like, and I want to do more for the families. And I had just had this, like, I don't know, it was just, I call it, it's like a download essentially. And it was like, focus on the moms and put together like a community. They all need each other. And so this is what I'm looking to create. And so I've been hemming and hawing on it for months now. And I'm not, because I just didn't know how to present it. And, so my first step was that little in-office retreat little thing that, I got, it wasn't big, but I had great feedback, and it really gave me the momentum to move forward, because this is where my heart is. This is where I think all of us could benefit. I would be going on this journey with you. And I'm so excited, and I'm like emotional about it, because I just feel like I know all of you. I love all of you. And what a difference we could make if we could all be together. Like we literally would change the lives of our children. We'd change the lives of our husbands, our family structure, our friends, but like of each other. Like that's what this program, that's my intention. And this is what my hope is. And I hope that comes through. And again, if this sounds like something you're interested in, I would love to have you. So I don't know if any of you have any questions. I'm happy to open up for questions. So thank you.
Are you going to put the link in the chat so that we can register?
That's a great idea. If I just can go back. Okay. Thank you for that suggestion. Any other questions? Yeah, Katie Nicole.
So for the monthly meetings, would it be like that we share different things, or is it like an actual activity that like you plan before, or like would we get to talk? Like what does the monthly meeting look like?
That's a great question. So how the monthly meeting would look like, I'm going to stop my share, is I'm going to open it up as a circle, like a women's circle. And I know for me, I personally never experienced that before I started to go on this journey myself. And so what it would be is I open up with a question, right? And that we all then answer that question. And then we have like something that we focus on, like the topic that we're focusing on. So if it's mood, I'm going to ask, we're going to talk about something more of like mindfulness, mindset practices, and have like a little activity possibly about that, or a little homework. But really it's going to be open to sharing, but it's going to kind of be focused on that topic, if that makes sense. But trust me, it's going to be relevant to everything that we're all experiencing. But yes, there's the whole purpose of connection and community, right? Is that we can share. It's not going to be just me talking. That's why I'm doing the module beforehand. So you can listen to me talk then. Right. And I am going to be involved in the circles though, because we're going to know each other on a different, more intimate way too. But it's really special. And we did that at the new, that little mini event that we did. I thought it worked well. And so we do that. And at the end, we also close the circle. And so we just kind of go around and we say like one word about how we're feeling or something. And so that's really the structure of it. It's opening. We kind of focus on a topic that we all share about and talk about, and then we close the circle. And then we have the Facebook group in between, where we're all going to be able to connect that way too. So that was a great question.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Okay. All right.
Hi, Dr. Wells.
Hi, Meredith.
Hi. I just want to say that it sounds amazing. Thank you so much. And I love your passion. It's very contagious. And I'm feeling like really how wonderful this could be. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for saying that, Meredith. Awesome. All right. Anyone else? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Mira.
Hi, Mira.
I want to echo what Meredith said. I think this is really exciting. I also, my head goes to the logistics, right? Wednesday night at what time? Like, can I make that slot consistently?
Yes.
Have a time in place?
I do have a time in place. So it was going to be like 6 o'clock, I thought, because I wanted to make it available for my moms who work during the day. I did Wednesday because I also felt like, I don't know everyone's schedule with like activities, but I kind of felt like Thursdays and Fridays for some reason. I don't know if like there's more games or something around that time. I know there's never going to be a time that's going to work for everyone, right? And so that's why also doing it on once a month, I thought was reasonable, because hopefully we could find coverage for that period of time once a month. And so that's where I was going for this round. And I would love, I know like it's really easy to get caught up in the logistics. So that's why I didn't necessarily want to put a time on, but I totally understand we're all looking for that information. But it would be consistent. Again, and like, unless I have so much interest, I could do a daytime and the nighttime one, but I'm not sure I wanted to focus on the one. And then the first one, the first meeting is Wednesday. Oh, Trisha, I'm so excited. Okay. So the first meeting, I have it in my calendar, would be June 7th. That's the first one. Catherine, that was also a great question. Your mic's not working. We limit the info to moms only, because I know most of us are always looking for more. I got you. I know how we all work. We're always thinking about what we can do more for our child. So like the information I'm going to present is going to be applicable for you to put over to your children too. But I will have, I want the focus to be on us, but absolutely. And my specialty is working with children. So a lot of that information will be applicable to our families. Yes, absolutely. It's going to be everything you gain from it, you can apply. Okay. Anyone else? My sign up has June 5th. It's going to be June 7th. I'm sorry about that. I will change it. Any other questions?
It's not a question, it's more a request, I guess.
Yes.
Is there any chance we could move that even 30 minutes later? Because I don't know about others, but I'm often commuting at 6 o'clock. I'm in transit.
Yes. So I am definitely open to that, to talking to the, people who want to sign up if that works for them. Again, just balancing out with like bedtimes and whatnot and things like that. So I'm definitely open to talking about that if people are open to that too. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else? Okay. Well, I have to say, I am so grateful that all of you came live. And again, I hope that this came through about my intention. And I just think this could be beautiful. And again, I care deeply for all of you. And I hope that we can, go on this journey together. And so if you have any questions and you didn't feel comfortable, writing it in the chat or, talking out loud, I'm happy to, reach out to me. You can always contact me. Okay. All right. It was good to see you all. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.